Hey guys, we're gonna talk about the new upcoming character Yuki. She will join the fray on November 12th after a maintenance. She will be the new raid up character replacing Haru. And I have seen character breakdowns from her and what people call in-depth analysis, and I mean they are completely tripping. So I will do my own one. Here it is. Let's do a deep dive into how good will Yuki actually be, what will she do, how will she work, how will she perform in the metagame, should you pull for her, what is around her, etc. Let's dive into it. First of all, we have to of course take a look at her kit, and in her kit you will find a unique ability called Inspiration. You trigger the Inspiration effect that is written on the card by drawing it with a skill ability. That's why you have to play Yuki together with characters that draw cards via skill abilities, like Nia or Cassius, for example. And then you can see, take Flash Slash, the ability here on the bottom left hand side for 2 AP as an example. You can see that the Inspiration effect says reduce this card's cost by 1. So if you would draw into this card with a skill card, you would reduce its cost by 1. Take Iceberg Cleave, the card on the bottom very right, as another example. If you would draw into Iceberg Cleave with a skill card, you would trigger this Inspiration effect of +1 extra hit that would deal 20% less damage though. But if you, so let's say you draw into Iceberg Cleave with a skill card, you activate this card and it activates twice, but the second slash, so to speak, deals not 180% damage to all enemies, but 160. There we go. With that out of the way, we can now take a look at her kit. We have the usual useless basic card that gives us 100% shield. Then we have Longsword Slash and Rapid Cut, which will simply deal the damage, right? We are used to this. Every single character has these kind of cards. Then it gets interesting with Prepare to Subdue. You draw a card for Yuki that will be an attack type card, and you increase the damage by 20% for this one turn alone though. You can do this for 0 AP, and what I would guess would be the best epiphany for this card is to increase the damage output from 20% to 40%. Okay, then we have Flash Slash, the card on the left bottom side that says 180% damage to all enemies, and if you trigger Inspiration, you reduce the cost by 1. This is where things get truly interesting, because now we have a number that we can compare to the other two best main DPS characters in this game, which are Karen and Haru. So let's immediately go and do that real quick. Alright, 180 damage to all enemies. And keep in mind, Yuki is a character that is specialized at dealing damage to all enemies. Her single target damage is pretty much non-existent here. So that is very, very important to know, because you could not compare the numbers to a character like Karen or Haru, because those are focused on their main thing, right? Is focused on dealing single target damage. So Haru and Karen both have abilities though that also deal damage to all enemies. That means Haru needs to have abilities that deal more AoE damage than the ones for Karen and Haru would do. That is very, very important. And now look, both of her abilities here with Iceberg Cleave and Flash Slash both deal 180% damage to all enemies for like 1 AP. Alright. Now, if you take a look at Karen right here, and you take a look at his ability that hits all enemies, then you will immediately realize it is way stronger. It deals 120% more damage, and it does so also for 0 AP. Of course, we don't know what the epiphanies for the cards for Yuki would be, but it doesn't matter, because if you look at Karen's epiphanies here, it increases the damage by a whooping 150%. So you would deal with an epiphany 450% damage to all enemies for 0 AP, while Yuki would do the same, but for 0 AP, right? But yeah, of course you have to trigger inspiration, but you also have to remove the utility cards for you have to exhaust cards for Karen to play his for 0 AP, so it would equal out there, and you will always accomplish that. The true difference is the damage output. It is 180 compared to 300. We can go to the other main DPS that is even more focused on dealing single target damage, but we can look at Haru here as well. She also deals 180% damage to all enemies, right? Sure, she does it for 2 AP instead of 0, but again, it is more focused towards single target damage, and you could even increase the 180% damage from Haru in her own kit by 30%, right? So don't underestimate that either. Now, the point that I'm trying to get across here is that in comparison, the damage output from Yuki that is dealt to all enemies needs to be higher than from Karen and Haru, because that is what Yuki's main focus is, while it is not the main focus for Karen and Haru. And you can see here the numbers don't add up, and at best she draws equal. She's even behind Karen, so you can see already Haru is in that sense absolutely nothing special. Okay, let's move on, taking a further look into her kit with Trickery Strike. It's an attack, 1 AP. What it does is you deal 150% damage if you activate and you can activate Inspiration to 1 random card in your hand. So this could be useless. You could activate an Inspiration for a card that doesn't even have Inspiration. At least I would guess. Maybe it always hits a card that has Inspiration. It is only random if you have multiple of those. Could be, who knows, right? But nonetheless, 150 damage to 1 target for 1 AP is again really bad. It does not hit the numbers. Let's go and compare this to our 2 other best friends one more time. Yeah, keep in mind, 1 AP, single target damage, 150%. Yeah. Now let's go take a look to Karen again. He does for 1 AP, single target damage, 240% damage. While Yuki activates the Inspiration, but Karen does pretty much the same. He activates his utility cards, 2 of those that he so desperately needs. Again, it is a tremendous outclassing in terms of damage output here. Again, right? Let's take a look at Haru. She doesn't have an ability that costs 1 AP and that hits 1 target. But you know, her anchor shot that scales. Sure, it costs 2, but you can search it out for free. Even recover it from the graveyard, not just search it out of your deck. You can boost this by plus 70% damage for the turn. Every time you use it, it gets a whooping 60% damage increase. Every single time you use that crap. You know what I mean? And then again, go back to Yuki and see what this ability does. It does absolutely nothing. You cannot search it out. It doesn't boost itself. It triggers an inspiration. Yeah, I mean, what the hell, right? Again, this is another part of her kit that is completely outclassed by the main DPS characters that we already have in the game. And one more time, don't think that her Epiphany upgrades, they will be so incredible that they will be better than Haru's and Chiron's. Absolutely not, because Haru's and Chiron's Epiphanies already like crush the ceiling as well, right? So even if Yuki has really good Epiphanies, so does Haru and Chiron as well. Okay, let's look at her upgrade. Freezing Blade. You know the basic rule. If you watch my channel, you would have heard me say this once or twice already, that whenever an upgrade card from a character does not have the ability to be in your starting hand guaranteed, Outbreak of War is what this mechanic is called. And looky look, Yuki's upgrade card does not have that. Okay, what it does is, when using own card with an activated inspiration effect, 60% damage to all enemies. That is really good. This card needs a Epiphany upgrade that gives it the ability Outbreak of War. Otherwise, this you will not get. It is bad, because you will, no matter how good it sounds, you will never get the intended value. You will never see and get the value out of this card that you would need to get, because if you draw this late, then the battle might already be over, or it will be close to already over. You can waste turn after turn after turn after turn if RNG screws you up. So again, upgrade cards, no matter how good they might be, they are bad if they don't have the ability Outbreak of War. So let's pray that the Freezing Blade upgrade card here from Yuki will have an Epiphany that keeps this exact same effect, but has the Outbreak of War mechanic attached to it. Then we have this Iceberg Cleave that I already mentioned earlier. And this is like the saving grace for Yuki. This is what makes Yuki stand out at least a little bit, because you can see that 180 damage to all enemies, that is nothing special. We have this in equal versions or even better versions already in the game, so that would not make Yuki worth it. But it hits one more time if you trigger the inspiration effect. Sure, it does then 20 damage less. That is still plus 160% damage, which would equal to 340% damage. It is, even with the inspiration effect, like, it is nothing too absurdly incredible. But this card is actually something where, like, this is the only card in Yuki's kit where I would say, yeah, okay, this can actually be nuts. Cool. This can, of course, yeah, I hope this has good Epiphany upgrades, because it is very, very important. This is the only ability that could potentially make Yuki stand out a little bit compared to our other main DPSs that I mentioned, like Haru and Chiron mainly. Cool. Then of course she has an ego skill that cost 5 ego points. It is called Skyscraper Cleave. What it does is 300% damage to all enemies. Move all own attack cards in your hand to the drop of your draw pile, and for each card that you move up to your draw pile by using this effect, per card the damage is increased by 50%. This is something else that is completely nuts. You have to, of course, play a little bit around it. You can see that you move all attack cards to the top of your deck that belong to Yuki. So you have to watch out. She has Longsword Slash, Rapid Cut, Flash Slash, and Iceberg Cleave as her attack cards. Those are 4. That is a very, very good number. You have to watch out though that you do not turn one of those attack cards into, like for example, a skill by using an Epiphany. And then you hoard these cards in your hand as much as possible. I mean, you can't hoard them because they, at least Trickery Strike has this retain effect, right? I mean, it is a little bit RNG heavy, but nonetheless, we don't have to theory craft too hard here. This Skyscraper Cleave, the Ego skill for Yuki, is really nuts and will do a shit ton of damage to all enemies. Of course, you have to be aware of the fact that when you use this first, so you move as many cards to the top of your draw pile as possible, and after that you will have nothing left. So you need a partner that draws you these cards back so that you can use your AP with your main DPS. Of course, right? Team building is important. We will do this. We already know that Nia and Cassius are the recommended partners for Yuki because they can draw Yuki a lot of cards, and her ego skill is pretty good to see why, and of course the inspiration effect as well. Before we move on, we have a lot more to unpack. There are forbidden cards, there are neutral cards that will join the fray that you can build your save data around, and there's more, right? But before we move on, just by looking at her kit like that, even keeping in mind what the Epiphany's upgrades are for Prepare of Subdue, we already know those. And no matter how good the Epiphany's upgrade are for the rest of her kit, right? We can already determine that this is very mediocre. You see, you will, I know for a fact, I know the gacha community in and out at this point, and you will have wasted your pull currency left, right and center. You will probably have tried to pull for Haru. You will probably have pulled on the normal rescue banner until you hit this 300 quote-unquote pity. It is not even truly a pity, it is a huge bait and waste of your resources, but I know that the chance of you having done this is tremendously high, right? I would 99% of the player base will have done this and did go for it. That means, considering that you also need your pull currency to reset your stamina, to be able to level up your characters, the potential trees, you need 2 teams, you need 6 characters at max level, you need the memory fragments, you need everything, right? There's a lot of stuff that you need to get a character rolling, and you need 6 of those characters. So you need to refresh your stamina with pull currency. Otherwise, you will never get your hands onto these resources. And all of this combined, you're pulling for a 300, what you would call pity, you tried your best to get Haru, and so on and so forth, right? How many resources do we have actually left? You know what I mean? I don't know how much money you would spend, but what I'm trying to tell you here is that Yuki is not worth it. If we just look at Yuki herself, absolutely not. Karen and Haru are at minimum on par, if not even better than Yuki herself. But there is a little bit of a caveat, or multiple caveats I should say, to this fact that I just stated. So let's take a look at those. The first thing is, of course, her partner, Westmacott. That is a very broken partner. That is by far the best partner in the game. No question about it, that is crystal clear. And that is what you absolutely 100% need to get your hands on if you invest into Yuki. Otherwise it will not be worth it. Now that we are talking about this, let me explain you a little bit how Chaos Zero Nightmare works as a game. It is not how it is in other gacha games, that if you get your hands onto a character, You can level him up, right? You min-max him real quick. Then you play him and have a little bit of fun with him. That is not how things work out in Chaos Zero Nightmare. Chaos Zero Nightmare is completely different when it comes to this stuff. If you decide to pull for a character here, or even if you decide to put resources into, like stamina investment and stuff, into a character, do you have done a huge commitment right then and there. Leveling up a character, min-maxing one character takes you multiple weeks of stamina investment, even if you get all 10 refreshes with the pull currency on your stamina every single day. It will take you multiple weeks. I'm playing this game excessively on 3 different eggs every single day. I did not waste a single tiny drop of stamina. I'm refreshing it like a madman, and I'm not even close to maxing out even a single character. And how old is this game by now? Like a month, around a month. And I have not maxed out a single character. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you pull for Yuki and you go in there with the mindset of, oh, I'm just leveling up a little bit of her potential tree, I will just get her to level 50 and then stop for it, you are a complete moron then. I have to say it like that, excuse me. It is the truth. And the truth is what we cover on this channel. No matter if anyone likes to hear what I have to say or not. I'm stating facts. So, again, the point I'm trying to make is that if you pull for Yuki, you have to pull for Westmacott. There is no way around it. Otherwise, you make a tremendous mistake and break your account. Easy as that. As a free-to-play, of course, right? Free-to-play and low spender. Those are the people that I'm talking to. If you're a whale, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You will pull and you will have everything at max level anyways, right? So keep that in mind. Of course, I'm talking to free-to-play players and low spenders. Cool. Now, let's see why this partner is so necessary and what makes him so broken. Attack cards of the assigned combatment of the assigned character drawn by their ability have their damage increased by 50% for one turn. 50% is insane. Other partners have like 10% increase. Maybe it's for some cases a little bit more. No other partner in this game comes even remotely close to a 50% damage increase every single turn, right? Of course, it has to be equipped to a striker. Haru and Yuki are strikers. They have to pull out their attack card by their own ability. They can do this. Remember, let me pull up Yuki's kit here one more time. Here it is. She has prepared to subdue. Draw one of this unit's attack cards out of your deck. Boom. There we have it. This triggers the 50% increase from Westmacott. It is very, very consistent, right? Haru does the same stuff as well. She can search out her anchor shot. Boom. Anchor shot does 50% more damage. This is insane. Again, no other partner in this game comes even remotely close to such a tremendous damage increase. It gets a little bit better here though, because the damage amount of the phrasing here is super bad. Let me read it out still. Damage amount of cards with the assigned character's inspiration increases by 20%. I had to read this like 5 or 6 times to like figure out what these glyphics actually mean. So you increase the damage by 20% for the character that this partner is attached to. And this partner, if it has an inspiration mechanic like Yuki does, then you increase the damage by those inspiration cards by 20%. So if you compare this from Haru to Yuki, which is the best comparison you can possibly make, by the way, then Haru would gain this 50% damage increase on Anchor Shot. Is incredibly good. But Yuki would gain an additional 20% damage increase because she has cards with the mechanic of inspiration. It is a little bit dependent on RNG to actually make this work and combine this to a 70%, but it will happen more often than not. And you see how this goes, right? You have a damage increase here by 70% for pretty much everything that Yuki does. And that is the reason why Yuki will become is a really, really good and respectable, like top tier S tier character, but only with this partner, Westmacott. Cool, now that we have figured that one out, this Westmacott, he has an ego skill that costs you 3 points, and you have to shuffle one of your cards in your hand. Doesn't have to be Yuki's, can be any card that you want. You have to shuffle it back into your deck, and then you will draw an attack card for Yuki, or for Haru for that matter. So it makes things even more consistent, so that you are able to find the cards out of your deck that you actually want. Cool, but again, the kicker is the 70% damage increase for everything that Yuki does. It's a permanent increase. You will trigger these effects. Like the 50% is guaranteed to trigger every turn, and most of the times, 90% of the turns, you will also trigger the 20% from her secondary effect. That is a really good partner, right? You should not play Yuki without this partner at all. Of course, there is one more thing that we'd have to take a look at, and those are forbidden and neutral cards that will be introduced in Season 1 and can be part of our save data if we so choose to. Here these forbidden cards, I wanted to put them onto your screen so you can read them real quick, right? To me, there is nothing in particular that just really stands out here as, whoa, this is gonna be really good. But there are neutral cards, those ones right here. And here are some crazy things. Look at the very first card, right? For example, the aggressive mutant. For 0 AP, you draw one of your own attack cards, of course, right? You will get access to this card and you will put it into a character's kit. And depending on who you put this, in which character's kit you put this card, it will draw an attack card for this character. And the attack card of this character will deal 50% more damage that turn. If you remember that Yuki has this exact card in her kit, but the damage output is only increased by 20% or with an epiphany by 40%. This aggressive mutant is a better version of this because it increases the damage amount by 50%. Crazy. The Karen will love this. Haru will love this. Yuki will love this. You will draw this card and you will copy the shit out of it, because this adds so much consistency and so much damage to every character's kit, basically. Every main DPS character in this game loves this card. So crazy. Then look at the very next card. Also completely insane. Shell forming cell. It gives you 70% shield. That is already a lot. For 0 AP, that is a lot. But for each card in your hand, you gain an additional 25% shield. This whole season 1, like every single card, if you look at those, there is so much drawing going on. You will draw a tremendously huge amount of cards. By everything, by the forbidden cards, with the neutral cards, you will have like characters paired with Yuki that draw a lot, like Nia, like Casio. Drawing will be out of control. Or like play this with Karen. You use one AP, you create 3 cards of futility with this. Or use Tresser. For 1 AP you create 3 daggers. Boom. You like out of 1 card make 3. That will bloat your hand, right? And when you then use this shell forming cell, you will be invincible for the next turn. This is crazy. And this card even stays in your hand with retain. It doesn't go away. It doesn't exhaust itself like the aggressive mutant. You can choose to play this card whenever you want. Whenever you have a lot of cards in your hand, you can play this card. It is crazy, crazy, crazy good. Everyone will want to have this multiple times in their save data. That is an insane card, right? And yeah, those are the cards that I mainly wanted to show you. You can of course read by yourself. Look at the 4th card here. Muscle Enhanced Evolver. 80% damage twice, but if you activate Inspiration, this hits 4 times. That is 80% damage 4 times onto a target. That is 80, 160, 240, 320% damage to a target for just triggering Inspiration for 1 AP. That is a whole bunch of damage. Also, very, very good card. And yeah, I mean, there you go. The rest you can read for yourself. I just want to mention that there is a lot of support for Yuki in this season 1. You have this crazy partner for her, and you have a lot of cards that will be added to the save data in season 1 as well to help Yuki out getting better. Because if you, as we did earlier, look at her kit and even compare it to other top tier characters, it leaves a little bit to be desired, to say it at least. But yeah, you can see here, she gets a lot of help. A lot of help triggering her Inspiration, making her overall save data better. But yeah, the other characters gain huge buffs here as well. These buffs also apply to Haru and Keiron, for example. What is really the kicker for Yuki is again her partner Westmacott. So one more time, emphasis on if you want to pull for Yuki. If you pull for Yuki, you completely throw your resources out of the window if you do not also pull for the partner. Keep that in mind. Would I recommend you do that? Absolutely not. And the reasons why I cannot recommend this under any circumstances, I've already explained them, right? But let me make them visible for you one more time. Let me show you why. Again, I'm playing this game every single day since its release, and I'm playing it pretty excessively. I do it on 3 accounts. And I've been refreshing my stamina. I stopped refreshing my stamina with pull currency once I hit level 50. But before I hit level 50, I did it like pretty much not every single day, all 8 refreshes, right? I used like sometimes only 6, but I did it every day. Like all the way from day 3 to right now, I refreshed my stamina every single day with pull currency for at least 6 times, sometimes 8 times, to level up fast. And I have not pulled for anything. All I did on this account was I tried to reroll. I hit Veronica 3 times in a row, And then I was like, okay, Veronica chose me, I'm gonna roll with Veronica. And that's all I did. I did not pull for any character, for any partner whatsoever. I can even show you this. Here on my rescue merit is 0. I have not pulled a single time. I have 225 pulls ready here. For the Haru banner, I didn't pull a single time. Can I prove that somehow? Rescue records empty. Didn't pull a single fucking time. So I have all the resources that I could possibly have to pull for characters still available. It is 17.5k. I know for a fact, because I have seen someone not pull for anything either, and never ever once refresh a single time his stamina. And he has 26k, a little bit over 26k of this pull currency left. That is not enough, you know. This resource is extremely scarce, is what I'm trying to tell you. And as we figured out, Yuki is mediocre. She needs her partner. Do you really wanna take the risk and pull on the limited banner for a mediocre character and a partner that would also cost you like 70 pulls for like the same currency, by the way? So this will be extremely expensive to pull for both, unless you get out of your mind lucky. But you shouldn't even try, you know. It's not gonna be worth it. It's gonna be way too expensive. You need to save up. You need to refresh your stamina. You need to save up, especially if you made the big mistake and you did go for this 300 merit shit here, right? Like, even if you pull for her, even if you pull for Yuki, you cannot level her up. I play this game every single day since day one. I refresh my stamina with pull currency, and I did not finish this potential tree for Veronica. Not even for my main character on this account. I don't have a single character maxed out. I do not even take care, as you can see here, of my memory fragments. That is also another huge grind. Tons and tons of weeks of stamina investment here, of stamina refreshes, would go into these memory fragments normally to min-max everything. I haven't done this at all because I did not even finish the potential tree, and I have to work on other 5 different characters to have 2 teams ready. You know what I mean? You don't have the resources to level so many characters up. So for the love of God, don't pull for Yuki. Like, no way. And if you do, pull for a partner. But anyways, guys, that's all that I wanted to get across. That video is already way too long, but this is an actual in-depth guide. This is how you do this crap. You have to compare. You have to take the whole data in, like, what's it called? The save data into account. You have to draw comparisons. You have to evaluate the resource investments. You have to talk about the partners and everything, dude. So yeah, I wanted to get this video out before Yuki actually releases. And here we have it. I hope this video was fun and informative. If you like Chaos Zero Nightmare content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, don't forget to join the Discord server, link to that in the description down below. While you are in this description box, make sure to use the link to my twitch.tv channel and give me a follow there as well, because I'm live streaming this game every single day for lots and lots of hours. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, peace and love.